Cyberstorm Access is clearly a meta-shifting set as it introduces a lot of new competitive strategies to the metagame. This video will focus not only on the best decks to emerge off of this set, but also the best standalone cards. Let's start with the obvious. This set is the reason why Purely and Super Heavy Samurai are gaining so much in popularity right now. Purely is getting two new cards from this set, which are Purely Lily as well as Sleepy Memory. Both of these cards are obviously 3-ofs in this deck as they add draw power, search power, and also the ability to exceed spam. Now, Super Heavy Samurai basically went from complete garbage to extremely overpowered in like 2 seconds. It got a similar treatment as seen with Spiral, albeit less powerful. There are several new Super Heavy Samurai cards introduced in this set, and most of them are being played, so watch out for them. The Pendulum Monster is particularly good because it's a crazy one-card starter that doesn't even take up your normal summon. And by the way, if you're a Despia player, this set will make you really happy. The new support's pretty nice. There's like a new Ecclesia monster, a new Synchro, and a new Fusion. Although I will say, I personally believe the new Ecclesia, which is Guiding Quem the Virtuous, if I recall correctly, is actually much better than the two extra deck cards. And speaking of extra deck cards, this set is also introducing a lot of really insane boss monsters that just happen to be Synchro monsters, actually. I'm talking about two monsters that can be abused by Dragon Link, and these two cards are Bestial Dispatter as well as Chaos Angel. So Bestial Dispatter is a crazy level 10 Synchro monster that can allow you to extend by reviving back banished light and dark monsters and can also negate monster effects or destroy them. Chaos Angel, on the other hand, is a card that's basically a Link monster because you can generically summon him without tuners if you're using light and dark monsters, and it has a lot of really nasty effects. So upon being summoned, Chaos Angel can banish a card on the field, it can be indestructible by battle if it's summoned by like a light or dark, and then the other attribute makes it unaffected by your opponent's activated effects. So yeah, if you summon this card against Super Heavy Samurai, you're going to be completely winning in 2 seconds. Hell, even Teller Knights are getting fantastic support. Their Xyz monster is one of the nastiest cards I've read in a while, and that deck can easily put up like 7+ interruptions if their combo goes through. The one issue that Teller Knight always had was the fact that it kind of loses really hard when the normal summon doesn't really go through. Now the deck is more of like a combo deck or a mid-range deck and not really a control deck with a lot of Call of the Haunteds, for example. Okay, fantastic, Yaksai, and a bunch of old decks are getting really good support, but how about the newer decks? We will be getting our first wave of support for Matadome in the TCG, and that deck is definitely looking to be really nice. I wouldn't say it's broken or anything right now because the deck definitely needs more support, but it does have a good foundation. It can make negates or turbo out a turn-skipping monster, which is really insane, or it can go into the Sprite combo because it plays a lot of level 2 monsters. But again, it lacks Manadome cards, so at the moment, it's not that great. I can kind of say the same thing about Gold Pride, the new TCG exclusive, because it is really good for what we currently have, but again, we're missing some Gold Pride cards. Like, we don't have enough starters, for example. The deck definitely needs way more. That deck is basically Punk 2.0, so if you're really good and really comfortable with playing that deck, then you should definitely play it because you can catch a lot of people off guard. And the reason why I say that is because it's not a deck that comes from the OCG, so people have never even heard of that deck before. It's completely new for us. Alright, so now how about the free agents, right? The cards that you can play in pretty much any deck. The first one is Time Rendering Morganite, a card that you can play in Flunderies and pretty much any deck that wants to normal summon a lot of monsters but doesn't really play hand traps. This card starts off with a little down payment, but you can easily recover from it, and you can start accruing really big interest rates very fast. The longer a game is, the better this card is, because you're always going to be drawing 2 cards instead of 1 on your draw phase for the rest of the duels, so slower decks should definitely consider this card. Wannabe is also a really good card in slower decks, well, particularly trap decks, because it can allow you to get a trap card on your field on turn 0, so before you even start your first turn. But that's assuming you're going second, and your opponent doesn't have like 5 cards in their spell and trap zone, and doesn't have a negate for Wannabe. Speaking of trap decks, Trap Track is basically Trap Trick 2.0, but it's a little better in Unchained than in a deck like Labyrinth, for example. Up next is a card that is insanely broken in the OCG, but it's obviously going to be way worse in the TCG. I'm talking about Numbers of a normal spell card that allows you to cheat out a Number Xyz monster going second. In the OCG, this card can summon Rongo, but in the TCG, that card is banned. Nonetheless, I still believe that this card could be abused, but in a less broken way. Alright, so I think I have saved 3 of the best for last, and this might actually shock a lot of people. I'll start with the most obvious one first, which is Ringleworm, the 100-Apple Dragon. It's a really insane card. It just conveniently happens to be a level 2 monster, so it definitely opens the door to Sprite combos, and it's really nice with vanilla monsters, aka the Brave token. A simple 2-card combo can easily summon Dragoon on top of having a bunch of cards in your hand, and you don't even have to play any bricks for that. So yeah, no Dark Magician, no Red Eyes, no bullshit, nothing. This card opens up billions of possibilities and definitely is worth exploring. Now next up is a card that made Math Mech and Exorcister drastically better, and that would be Sakitama. It's a really good level 4 extender because it allows you to normal summon it or any other spirit monster directly from your hand, so it's a non-special summoning extender. So in the OCG, not only does this card allow you to play around Maxx C, but it also plays around the drawback of Exorcister Martha. So that deck is basically racist against anyone who doesn't belong to their sisterhood trying to special summon themselves, but Sakitama isn't trying to special summon anything, but rather normal summon. And Sakitama turns Aratama into a 1-card full combo with literally, again, no drawbacks and no bricks, which is insane. And last but definitely not least is a card that I definitely believe is slept on. The card in question is Adularia, and even though it looks a little hard to summon, it's actually really easy to pull off. The Marincess deck easily can turn this card live and also use its Foolish Burial effect to do some really insane things. I just can't really spoil it because I might potentially play it. All I can say is watch out for this card because it creates some really nasty plays. But yeah, that's pretty much all I had to say for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts about the best cards in Cyberstorm Access. And as always, I'll see you guys very soon. Peace.